The day is finally here. The NFL playoffs have arrived. 14 teams, 13 games, one Super Bowl. Holy crap, this year's gone by so fast. It makes me sad thinking about how fast it flew by. But on the other hand, grateful, because I get to experience excitement, joy, and the impending playoff loss to the Chiefs. But enough negativity. Let's get into the predictions for the 2024 NFL playoffs. Houston versus Los Angeles. Let's break down the Texans first. The Texans have had their fair share of ups and downs this season. Starting off pretty nice, then having a bad loss, then firing off a few wins, then losing to the Jets. Very inconsistent is the best way to describe them. Mr. CJ Stroud has struggled quite a bit this season, off of his throws, holding on the ball too long, and unfortunately, teams can read him a lot better since he's not a rookie anymore. His offensive line is to blame for some of his play, as they have been bad, plain and simple. Joe Mixon has been solid for the Texans, not a huge difference, but fine. Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs are out for the year, and Nico Collins still playing, but he is partially injured. And the defense is pretty good with the stars like Hunter, Anderson, and Stingley, and the supporting cast is pretty good as well, but this team has skidded the last few games, and they're looking like a man doing fentanyl after Christmas, which usually isn't good. Now let's look at their opponents. The Los Angeles Chargers have had a quick turnaround from last year, going from 5-12, Herbert gets a season-ending injury, Brandon Staley sucks, to hiring Jim Harbaugh, getting a decent running game, Herbert being good and healthy, and achieving an 11-6 record. Good stuff. The Chargers defense has been surprisingly solid this year, despite looking pretty bad last year, and the offense is solid as well. The new rookie Ladd McConkey has been a stud, and wide receiver Josh Palmer has been a decent number 2. And Quentin Johnston has been better, I guess. Overall, they're a pretty good team, nothing crazy, but good. Now to the game. Who do I got winning? Well, going off recent games, the Texans have looked rough as of late, and along with the lack of offensive firepower, they won't have Dell and Diggs out there, and the Chargers are going to the playoffs with a good amount of momentum. So for that, I have the Los Angeles Chargers defeating the Houston Texans 24-17. But let's be real, the winner gets the honor of losing to the Chiefs in the next round anyways.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
You just can't keep away from us, huh? Round 3 between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore offensively has been on fire this year, and the best we've seen Lamar Jackson, and the best offense Lamar Jackson has been around. Derrick Henry has been an absolute monster. Age does not slow down this man. Fourth-year receiver Rashad Bateman has finally broken out and is a true threat to this offense. And Zay Flowers has gotten better from his great rookie season last year. The tight end group of Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely is, I'm just going to be honest, the best tight end duo in the league. And, of course, Justice Hill being a solid pass-catching running back. The defense isn't as good as last year, but still pretty good with guys like Kyle Hamilton, Justin Madubuike, Roquan Smith, and Marlon Humphrey has played better from last year after looking a little shaky. Odafe has broken out this year and had 9 sacks, which is very good. And Calvin Oy has defined age and is just racking up a bunch of sacks, which is crazy. Now, Justin Tucker. This guy has played his worst season by far, and we will need him to be good in the playoffs because, oh boy, we're going to miss a lot of field goals. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the Steelers have had a bad choke job in the season, losing 4 games in a row, and Russell Wilson has drastically dropped off after those first 5 games. George Pickens is having too many crash outs.
I go by young boy, not zip you up from talking shit.
Najee Harris is mid, and the defense is once again being carried by TJ Watt. And Chris Boswell has been honestly their best player at this point, and Mike Tomlin has a winning record again, so good for her. Alright, the game predictions now. I'm not putting anything past the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been playing really bad, but they beat us a lot. But the Ravens are hot right now, and anything can happen. And I will say Zay Flowers is likely not playing, which makes Mike Tomlin's game plan a lot easier. However, I do think the Ravens get the job done in a sloppy game, but they ultimately win 23-19. Bills versus Broncos. Nope, I didn't expect at the beginning of the year to see the Broncos here, but my stupid ass was wrong. And they're in the playoffs. How did they get here, you may ask? Well, surprisingly, a resurged defense has greatly helped the Broncos to this point. And as much as I don't like the guy, Sean Payton is a very good head coach and can bring the best out of his players. Like Bo Nix, for example, who's been a good QB and is only a rookie. I don't think he's quite Jaden Daniels' level, but still pretty good. The Broncos overall have made a good step in the right direction after the Russell Wilson contract, but unfortunately, they have to face the Buffalo Bills. They're here again for the cajillionth time in a row, this time with a Josh Allen who doesn't turn over the ball. Very unlike him. Very strange. This time around, he's married to Spider-Gwen, and it's given him magic powers to play amazing. Stephon Diggs is gone, but Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Amari Cooper have all stepped up in a big way for this team. And of course, we gotta talk defense. And the Bills' defense hasn't been anything special this year, but they get a lot of turnovers. It kind of bounces out when they give up a lot of yards. But if they can't consistently get turnovers in the playoffs, it's going to be a challenging time for the Bills. Now, the game I feel, I don't need to do too much explanation here. The Bills are home, they're hot, and they're just an overall better team. So give me the Bills to beat the Broncos 30-14. Eagles Packers. The Eagles have had quite the turnaround since last year, losing in their last 5 games and getting clapped with the Buccaneers in the wild card, and looked overall dysfunctional. But this season they picked up a gem of a player that single-handedly fixed their offense. Saquon Barkley. He went on an absolute tear, rushing for over 2,000 yards in 16 games. He is their offense, and their offense runs through him. They would not be here today without him. And Jalen Hurts has played fine this year, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have also played pretty good. The defense has done a lot better this year than last year, mainly because they got rid of Matt Patricia, but also added a lot of new players who have came through in their own, like Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, and even second-year players like Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith have played very good. An overall great year for the Eagles. Now their opposition is the Packers. They have had their fair share of ups and downs this year. Jordan Love got hurt, they beat up a lot of bad teams, and they can't seem to beat the good teams as they are 0-4 against the Lions and Vikings combined. Pretty rough stuff. Jordan Love has been solid. Josh Jacobs has been a pleasant surprise this year, rushing for over 1,300 yards. Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks have both been solid receivers, but Christian Watson has torn his ACL and will be out for the playoffs, which is a huge blow. And Tucker Kraft has really came into his own this year, which is nice. The defense has been great at getting turnovers and stopping the run, but against top teams, they tend to give up a lot of yards and points. And with Jair Alexander likely out for the entire playoffs, that's a huge blow to the secondary. Now to the game. It's tougher than it looks because, in my opinion, if the Packers can slow down Saquon Barkley and force a shootout between Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love, I'm taking Jordan Love in that battle. And plus, as I'm recording this, Jalen Hurts has not cleared concussion protocol, and even if he does, that's going to affect his game a lot. It's tough. If Barkley goes off, the Packers are in trouble too, but Jalen Hurts' concussion, fuck it, I'm taking Green Bay to beat the Philadelphia Eagles and upset them. The 7th seed upsets the 2nd seed. Green Bay beats them 27-23. Rams versus the Vikings. May I just say the Rams winning the division this year, after the entire division just collapsed onto itself, was not what I expected. Seriously, this whole team's O-line was hurt, and they were 1-4 or something, and still managed to win the division. For shame, the NFC West, for shame. Anyways, Matt Stafford is slowing down, but not before he tries another playoff run with his main man, Cooper Kupp, who's also slowing down, meaning Puka and Kyron will most likely have to carry the offense, which is possible, but not ideal. The defense is a bit quirky, as they have a talented young defensive line with Byron Young, Colby Turner, Jared Verse, and Brady Fisk. The secondary is definitely something you gotta worry about with this team, and it could very well cost them, especially when they're facing the 14-2 Minnesota Vikings, whom unfortunately have finished as a wildcard team, but damn, this team is really good. For starters, Sam Darnold has had a career year and has looked great. He has receivers like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Jalen Naylor, and a good tight end in T.J. Hawkinson. But still, his playmaking ability has been great this year. And Aaron Jones, who's another running back who found a new team that is also thriving. And the defense, has been nasty. Jonathan Grenard has been a beast. Andrew Van Ginkel has been great. Pat Jones has been good. Linebacker Blake Cashman is very good. And their secondary has been quite surprising this year and having a solid year. Byron Murphy being the standout great player for that Minnesota Vikings defense. Now, with all this together, I'm picking the Vikings. It's an easy pick for me. I know the Rams beat them early in this year, but that was a short week. Kevin O'Connell having a full week to prepare, I think the Vikings easily beat the Rams, and they'll win 27-17. Our final wildcard game is going to be a fun one. First, the Commanders. They have been truly a good team this year. They're not a fluky team at all. They may not beat every team, but when they face a really good team, they will keep it close and keep them on the heels. And a large part of that is the rookie Jaden Daniels, who I think is easily the rookie of the year. He's played amazing for a rookie and is on Washington of all teams. Terry McLaurin has had a career year this year, along with Zach Ertz having his best season since he was on Philadelphia, and Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler being 2 solid backs. And the defense has done very well. Dan Quinn brought in a few vets to this defense, and it's paid off. Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu at linebacker. The D-line is also good. Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, and of course their big free agent signing, Marshawn Lattimore, a good corner who will help with the secondary a lot, since Emmanuel Forbes was sent to the shadow realm. And we also get to see Lattimore versus Evans again, so it's going to be hilarious. And the team they're facing is the highly explosive offense of the Buccaneers, led by their captain, Baker Mayfield, who has achieved a greater season than he did last year, this time with 41 passing touchdowns. He has great weapons, obviously, like Mike Evans, who has had 11 1,000-yard seasons in a row, and a underrated rookie in Jalen McMillan, who's really come into his own this year. And of course, Bucky Irving, the 1,000 rusher rookie Bucky Irving, mind you. And the defense is not the best. Their running defense is pretty good, but that passing defense is not great, to say the least. They make up for it because their offense is so good. Now, this game is going to be a tough one to judge. These teams are so close and have already faced. It's a 50-50 game for me, but I'll take the Bucs to win. They have experience in the playoffs with all experienced players, so I feel they'll get the job done and beat the Commanders 30-27. I would not be surprised if the Commanders go in this game playing great and straight up win. But even if they lose, amazing season for the Commanders regardless. Now the divisional games. Chiefs versus Chargers. Let's talk Chiefs. Okay, I know, I was going to hate this section, but I got to glaze the Chiefs. First of all, their team is great. You don't just fluke your way to 15-2 wins. And I know, do I think they've had fluky wins? I do, but you don't fluke And that many wins ain't that good. They have a great team. Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, regardless of how he's playing. They still got Kareem Hunt, who's playing pretty good. Isaiah Pacheco's back. I think Rashid Rice will be back. Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins. The O-line is pretty decent. Not the best, but it's decent. The D-line is very good, as usual, with Chris Jones, George Karlaftis. The linebacking core is very good again, with Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquill. In the secondary, it has Trent McDuffie, of course. The team is all around great. Harrison Butker has been struggling a little bit this year, but it's not to the Justin Tucker extremes of struggling, I tell you that. But he struggled this year. Anyways, this team is very good all around the board, and of course, they have the devil magic of Taylor Swift on their side. Oh, and Travis Kelce on the team, too. And they're going to be facing, in my predictions, the Chargers. And their division, the Chargers play them close, and I hate to say it, Patrick Mahomes has always gone to the championship game at least, and I would love to see the Chargers beat him here, but they're not going to beat him. They're going to keep it close, though, and the Chiefs win 20-16. The next divisional game will be the Ravens versus the Bills. I really want this to be a championship game, but unfortunately, it's a divisional round game, and it's going to be these two teams. I'm very confident this game is going to happen, and I know they're my predictions. I could be wrong, but I'm very confident, and it's really going to be a tricky game. I know the Ravens stomped the Bills early in the year, but that was before the Bills finally found their groove on offense, and that was also in Baltimore as well. So it's going to be a different game overall. Now, the game really comes down to which defense can slow down their quarterback more, because these are the two frontrunners for MVP this year, and what defense can slow down which quarterback more. And I don't know if either defense can. I don't really think the Bills defense can slow down Lamar, and I don't really think the Ravens defense can slow down Josh Allen. So I think it's going to be likely a shootout, and I'm a biased Ravens fan, man, but give me the Ravens to beat the Bills here. I think the Ravens are going to beat the Bills in overtime, 28-25, Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, let's talk about the Lions right now. The Lions have been sensational this year. Jared Goff has played probably his best year of his career. Jahmyr Gibbs is playing amazing. David Montgomery is injured, but he's coming back. But when he was playing, was very good. They also have Jameson Williams, who had a career year, and also they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, has been amazing. So Laporte has been struggling, but he's still an effect player and the best offensive line in the league, by far the best offensive line in the league. The defense has been hammered to shit with injuries. Ali McNeil is out for the year, and Aiden Hutchinson is going to be out until at least the Super Bowl, if they even make it there. And that's a huge blow. Those are your two best defensive linemen. But they also have some good D-line as well. Like Zadarius Smith, he's been very good for them. They also got back Alex Anzalone, who's good. And they have Jack Campbell's right there. They still got Amik Robertson. They still got Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. They still have players in the defense who are very good. They also have a stud of a kicker who's been great, who's a new kicker this year. And Dan Kimball's been great. Aaron Glenn, great. Ben Johnson, great. They've all been great. And they're going to be facing the Packers here. Now, the Packers, in my predictions, beat the Eagles and upset them. And they're going to go in this game without Jair Alexander or Christian Watson. And in his division, Christian Watson, maybe not, but Jair Alexander, they need to have him there. And I think the Lions would go in and beat the Packers 30-23. My other divisional round game is Minnesota versus the Buccaneers. A nice, fun matchup we didn't see this year. Now, this game is going to come down to some variables here. Will Sam Darnold be nervous going into a divisional round game and back-to-back away games? And will Baker Mayfield throw interceptions? I don't know. This is a hypothetical game I'm predicting right now. But it is tough going away game over and over again. So give me the Buccaneers to beat the Minnesota Vikings here and roll on to the NFC Championship game. Let's go to the AFC Championship game. The AFC Championship game I have is Baltimore versus Kansas City. Rematch of Week 1. Rematch of last Championship game. Here it is. Oh my God. I'm going to be so goddamn nervous if this is the game. Now, here's the thing. We lost to the Chiefs in Week 1, and you could say we could won that game. I rewatched it. It's not as clean cut as the Ravens outplayed them. I'll be honest, I don't know if the Ravens outplayed them. I think the Chiefs actually outplayed us this game. Defense played great against Lamar. They actually played very good against Derrick Henry as well, which is concerning. But our defense also played very good against Patrick Mahomes. But now Patrick Mahomes looks like he's gotten in his zone last few weeks, and Lamar Jackson has been like unreal. So it's going to be tough. And I would love for Lamar, anything, to beat this team and go to the Super Bowl and win. But it's not a fairy tale, you guys. It's not a story. Sometimes it's brutal, harsh reality. And sometimes brutal, harsh reality sets in every year, and that's how it is. I have Kansas City being Baltimore because although I do think Lamar Jackson would play great this game, they only need a few stops, and then they could win this game because the Chiefs are rolling right now, and they'd probably just score on us and then stop Lamar a few times and win. So I hate to say it, but I have the Chiefs winning. The championship game, Tampa Bay versus Detroit. Rematch of the divisional round last year. Tampa Bay, in my predictions, have come so far, and they face the Detroit Lions here right now. Who do I think is going to win? Detroit is coming off only one playoff game going to the championship game, and Tampa Bay is coming off 2 games, both at home. Now, this game is going to come down to if Detroit can run the ball. Now, if they can run the ball, they're going to win easily, but if they can't, they're going to be in trouble because it'll kind of come into a shootout. But even if it does come into a shootout, Detroit's been very capable of winning this game. They were down 16 to Houston, came back and won. They almost came back against Buffalo in that game. They're capable of coming back from big leads, even with a run game that's not working. So for that, I'm picking Detroit to beat the Buccaneers and go to the Super Bowl, which means my Super Bowl is Detroit versus Kansas City, the 2-1 seeds. I know, it's so unpredictable. Oh my God, it's so crazy. Who do you think's going to win here? Now, the Chiefs win, they win 3 in a row. The Lions win, they win their first Super Bowl. I'm a believer of parity in this league, and I think the Chiefs winning 3 in a row would be too much for everyone. And I think the NFL knows that too. And I think the NFL is going to be like, whoa, Chiefs, slow it down. Taylor Swift, slow it down. You can lose one. And that's my prediction is the Detroit Lions defeat the Kansas City Chiefs, winning the Super Bowl, getting their first one in their team's history. And that is my predictions for the NFL playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it going to be completely wrong after 1 week? I don't know. That's the fun of it. But thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.